Invigorating Icon OP. I'm finding lethal matches where I'm with a Bulwark with this perk are too easy to complete. The game could really use some kind of universal health regeneration, but when I win as part of a team with the Invigorating Icon perk available, it rings hollow compared to a victory clawed from the jaws of down teammates. I mean, you're still gonna get down teammates even with a Bulwark with Invigorating Icon. It just happens. On lethal, maybe not so much. And the excitement of solo major slaughter in a desperate effort to get my boys back. Okay, I disagree with their opinion here, but I like the energy. Tried to find a thread about it and couldn't anybody feel the same. Removed absolute because this opinion really only applies to lethal for me personally. Okay, they at least cleared that up. Invigorating Icon OP. All right, so the only way it could be OP is if it's actually too good for the highest difficulties of the game, and it's frankly not. I think when it comes to Invigorating Icon, it actually is pretty good. It's obviously a really good perk because everyone struggles with healing here and there, but if you consider things like wave 25, getting healing is pretty good, but does it really matter if you can get one-shotted? You know what I mean? So it honestly really depends. When it comes to Invigorating Icon, I think the reason why this post didn't have any upvotes is because obviously they tried to say this perk was OP and only played on lethal. Sure. But I still think, you know, there is a conversation to be had here because of the devs' approach to this perk as well. I genuinely think the nerf that we have for Icon is perfectly fine. I think that is where the banner should be. There's plenty of times where I'm looking at the banner, seeing how I want to build it, and when I look at Invigorating Icon, I kind of think to myself, well, do I want a slower banner just to heal my teammates? And it really depends. It really depends, but I was able to do Absolute 2.0 recently with the Bulwark. I played, you know, some Siege mode with the Bulwark without Invigorating Icon, and it's honestly very effective to just have, you know, Purity of Purpose and Glory Shield, and you can either have res or extra damage with the banner as well. So overall, when it comes to the banner and its balance, I think it's in a pretty good spot. I don't think Invigorating Icon is going to be like the defining factor that is going to be the thing that, you know, make sure that your team can complete wave 25, maybe even wave 15 hard siege mode. I mean, obviously healing is good, but in siege mode, you do have a fair amount of healing. It's more about the mistakes you make. If you're making way too many mistakes, the Invigorating Icon isn't going to be able to heal you every time you make a mistake. Icon is specifically for teams that just need like one mistake cleared up. If you're the only ways I think perks are overpowered is in the grenade launcher sense, where you can be genuinely bad at the game and still clear the toughest content available. I don't think Invigorating Icon hits that requirement. I think Icon, as far as its use, is really, really good utility, and it's obviously, you know, powerful. It's going to clear lethal, I guess. It's lethal, you should still have enough stims to not really need Invigorating Icon. But yeah, the actual nerf of that perk, I think, was very appropriate and did a lot to balance it within the, you know, within the other elements of banner. Like, seriously, I look at the banner. If I don't want Icon because I don't want a longer banner, I don't feel bad about it. I really don't. I mean, we do have a cooldown perk for Bulwark that is nice, but it feels so much nicer with a banner that has a, you know, more reasonable cooldown than the Icon banner. So yeah, when the devs say it's overpowered, I kind of disagree with it, to be completely honest. I don't think it is overpowered. I think it provides something that obviously teams need, which is healing. But the fact that we have kind of like, we have to jump through hoops for healing, I feel like that's the only reason why Invigorating Icon is even relevant. If every class had some sort of like small healing that could, you know, over time get you to full health, I don't think Invigorating Icon would even be picked, to be completely honest, even if it's in the state that it is in now. And honestly, like when it comes to Unmatched Zeal is better. And even Unmatched Zeal kind of starts to fall off in very heightened difficulties. So when it comes to healing, I just think it's a utility thing. When it comes to being overpowered, I more think of the grenade launcher and how it can just clear like every difficulty in the game at the time. I mean, pre-nerfed grenade launcher would clear all the difficulties of the game at the moment. I think. I mean, hard siege mode would not be anything if we had pre-nerfed grenade launcher. 100%. Now with Icon, people are still struggling to complete hard siege mode. Sometimes with Icon as well, it comes down to team synergy and your team's playing around your banner. There's plenty of times where I'm like, wow, the situation's getting pretty sweaty. I would love for my teammates to be around this banner when I drop it, because I'm going to have to drop it soon, and they're in a different room, they're not near me, and I can't wait for it, so I just have to drop my banner. Sometimes banner works out like that. I still think Glory Shield is very good. I think Glory Shield with Purity of Purpose is extremely good, to be completely honest. I think DPS Banner is starting to be a very useful tool to clear out waves and just large packs of enemies. But yeah, when it comes to Invigorating Icon, I don't think it's OP. I am going to go into the comments here to see how other people feel about it, but I just wanted to make my case on why I don't think it should be. If it can be improved, sure. Anything to take away that cooldown, that extra minute, I think is perfectly reasonable. Like, if you can make Invigorating Icon more slow as far as the healing goes, however, the cooldown is now the same, I would take that over a 3-minute banner cooldown, to be completely honest. But yeah, Invigorating Icon is probably good in most moments, but when it comes to the highest difficulties of the game, it's not going to clear that for you. It's just going to heal you. But if you're not, if you're not accustomed to getting one-shotted and how you have to play around that, Invigorating Icon isn't going to do anything for you. You're just going to keep making the same mistakes. It's not going to just clear out enemies for you. I think it's pretty silly to think this perk is OP, to be completely honest, from the perspective of the devs and from the perspective of this player who is a seasonal lethal vet. No, it is not. It was also nerfed already once. It is even weaker than Unmatched Zeal. Yes, I tend to agree with that, because you have to play around, Icon, the banner. You actually have to be near the banner. Unmatched Zeal is perfectly fine wherever you are. Especially on Siege. Yeah, 100%. Are you going to complain about that one next? Oh, geez. Dude. Okay, yeah, let's actually talk about this guy who's technically complaining. I kind of glossed over this. Complaining about a perk, complaining about a perk in this game at the moment just comes off not great, to be completely honest. The game's pretty balanced. I'm not even sure what they're going to do with patch 9 outside some of the stuff we talked about as far as melee contested health in the assault class. But like everything else feels really good. Maybe there's a few perks here and there that I think could just be replaced. Maybe one day I'll just point out some bad perks that I think just aren't great, but some of them are kind of unique, so I think it really depends. But anyway, no, you shouldn't complain if you're playing Siege mode and someone has Unmatched Zeal. You can't go, hey guys, can you make this game a little bit harder? Guess what? Here's the thing. You can make the game harder for yourself whenever you want. Whenever you want, you can jump into hard Siege mode with a level 1 character. Let's see how far you push into it, right? And then let's see you come back and try to complain about people just having fun with a healing perk that is rightfully appropriate for something like Siege mode. Now, for lethal operations, Unmatched Zeal probably isn't going to turn any heads. I can see where if you're playing like Ruthless and you're playing lethal, even like substantial, and if somebody drops the banner and just full heals you, you're probably pretty impressed. But if you haven't played Absolute yet, you didn't even see the true usefulness of banner, because you probably still have stims in lethal, Ruthless, substantial. In Absolute, you're probably hurting on stims. So Invigorating Icon is pretty much a lot stronger there. However, if you still have, if you're queuing into Absolute 2.0 and you're playing Bulwark and you have Invigorating Icon, and you're, basically what you want to do is carry the team to the end, and you have two players who are off meta, maybe underleveled, maybe not as effective as you think. Even if you heal those players, and they were hurting, maybe they had a mortal wound or something. Even if you heal those players, they're going to make the same mistake. They aren't going to magically play better because you healed them. You know what I mean? And even the fact that the Bulwark has a ranged limitation when it comes to their weaponry, I mean, that's kind of not like 100% true, considering that you can get your ammo back with Bulwark, and the plasma pistol's pretty good. But overall, it's still going to be a lot easier for a sniper to take out a Neurothrope than a Bulwark to take out a Neurothrope. But yeah, I mean, overall, that all kind of depends on how you play and stuff. But yeah, my point is, you can heal bad players all you want, but they're not going to just magically get better, especially in Absolute 2.0 when they can just get insta-deleted by like a Ravener Carnifex spawn. It is also not mandatory, and Saber has already said they are leery about reworking it because the fan base would revolt. I am paraphrasing. Oh, the only thing that makes me question that, like the devs' intentions, is the fact they just keep like mentioning Icon and Intimidating Aura. Now the thing is, with the recent community patch, it did kind of feel like it was past tense, talking about Icon was overpowered. Maybe that's kind of what they meant. But yeah, overall, when it comes to them reworking it anymore, I feel like it's fine. It is, if you want healing, your banner now takes longer to get. I mean, that's actually probably the best we can ask for. I think Icon is fine, but yeah, there's moments where I'm just throwing it away because I'm like, I kind of want Glory Shield, to be honest. Yeah, there is a whole subsection of very dedicated healer bulwarks out there, me being one. Yeah, I mean, dude, support bulwark is a very fun class to play. I played support bulwark quite a bit. I haven't really went back to it. I would like to just go back to bulwark, just put on a whole bunch of damage resistance, some healing, not Glory Shield, because if I'd be using Icon, but I'd be using Icon with the res. See, here's the thing. That Resurrection banner perk is pretty awkward. It's pretty awkward. There's too many moments where I'm like, oh wow, this is a perfect moment for banner, but what if my teammate goes down within a minute? I'm in a pretty bad spot in that case. But recently, there's the new prestige perk for bulwark where you get hyper armor if you're within banner. That's honestly a pretty good res perk if you consider the fact that you can just drop banner, you get hyper armor, you pick up your teammate, nobody can just hit you out of it unless it's like a super heavy attack or whatever. But yeah, overall, overall playing around banner is definitely a task in itself. So when it comes to being like a dedicated healer, a lot of the times you're just chasing people around who are just gonna die anyway. Maybe the game should have better healing mechanics than the stupid stim packs. Okay. There's no stupid stim packs. Nah, I just think it needs to be adjusted. It's kind of put into a position to like purposely have us play from behind in certain scenarios, which overall isn't that bad. I just think it's kind of weird to kind of like die on that hill where it's like, okay, every other class has some sort of sustainability, but yeah, there's just one class that isn't going to have it, and that's kind of where like Icon can actually be pretty good, is if you heal the Assault player. Same with Unmatched Zeal, you know, if the Assault gets some healing like that, the Assault kind of like levels up in a sense. But yeah. We've been talking about healing mechanics so often, man. I don't know. There's not a lot I can reintroduce to this conversation without repeating myself. But yeah, when it comes to stim packs, I think they're fine. But obviously, I think every class should have some sort of healing support. Even the non-lethal gun strikes get your armor back. That is actually pretty good. But you can only do that so much until you realize, oh wow, I'm getting a lot of chip damage here. And no matter how much armor I have, next fight, I'm in a really bad spot. But okay, so the original poster here actually has a pretty interesting response to this. I get what you're saying, but honestly, what I like about the game is the lack of healing. It forces team-based resource management, and basically everybody plays their hardest till they go down. I mean, I don't think those are interchangeable. I don't think people are playing their hardest just because they're having fun with the game, I think, to be completely honest. Yeah, like when you see a pack of bone swords, if you don't like fighting bone swords, you might be a little bit nervous. If you do like fighting bone swords, jumping into a pack of bone swords sounds really fun. So yeah, you go a little bit harder with your enjoyment, basically. It forces team-based resource management. Yeah, I will admit, I do like that quality. I do, but I guess it really depends. Okay, fine. I like that quality. I just don't like how I just don't like how it was implied by the devs that, for whatever reason, because of this, team-based resource healing management, that makes the Invigorating Icon overpowered. When I just don't, I think maybe Inner Fire, Invigorating Icon, maybe that was a little bit overpowered, because essentially you were getting full healed after every encounter. That kind of makes a little bit more sense, but that was the strongest we've ever seen Invigorating Icon, and I don't think we will ever go back there again. I mean, even if you have, the Prestige perk to help your cooldown with Bulwark and Inner Fire, I still think it still, it would still play better within your favor if you just had Unmatched Seal and maybe Focus Restoration, that actually works pretty well together. But okay, let's continue. The remaining have to summon the courage to get through the wave alone. Okay. Those moments come rarely when you have a competent team with a bulwark with invigorating icon. Change the word to clarify meaning. Okay, this is an interesting perspective. I still just don't think the moments we get with this game that are like very sweaty and it's like last man standing and all that normally comes with the matchup and not so much with the fact that you are or are not using invigorating icon. There are plenty of times where if you're on a good team, you might not need healing at all. so that's not going to that's not going to be relevant to your effort or not. I mean, you guys are already putting in a lot of effort. I do like those last stand moments, those last man standing moments, and I still just, I think the game is in a good spot. We definitely needed to, you know, touch on this subject so people don't still think invigorating icon is overpowered. I just wouldn't call it overpowered. It's strong, but it's normally strong because of the lack of resources. And ultimately, it's still not like the strongest perk, even with all of that considered. With everything that invigorating icon does have going for it, it's still not the strongest perk in the game. So that just kind of makes me push back on the overpoweredness of it, you know what I mean? Bulwark in itself is more meant to be support within Space Marine 2, so having one of his perks make the game seem easier even in the hardest difficulties doesn't seem that outlandish to me. So here's the thing about support classes in this game. I think everyone has like a hybrid, you know what I mean? Like, well, you know what? I will admit, Heavy is kind of like a DPS tank hybrid. If you consider that just being a tank, then then this doesn't really concern, I guess, the way you view the game. But for me, when I see the sniper, I see like a DPS support. When I see Bulwark, it's kind of like melee DPS support, you know what I mean? Tactical, utility DPS, everything. These classes, the reason why they feel good is because they have multiple things they can do, you know what I mean? So even if Bulwark didn't want to support, that option is there. So I wouldn't call the Bulwark is more meant to be support. I don't know. I think it's supposed to have support qualities. That's fine. The Bulwark player understanding how to be a team player and effectively abuse his power either by knowing it's OP or just having the game sense to understand the timing to use it is the more notable topic to me, as this perk gets more easily abused by a Bulwark that actually uses it for the team's benefit rather than on-demand health pack for himself, which early Bulwark players tend to do more times than not. Wow, I am glad I'm making this video. Bro, using invigorating icon in a like efficient manner is not abusing it. Holy cow, dude. That's just a negative way to put like the spin on it, to be completely honest. I don't think there is a perk in the game you can abuse, like, to be honest. Like the only thing I would say would be an abusive perk, I guess, would be pre-nerfed grenade launcher, grenade regenerations. Probably. That's probably like the only like overpowered abused perk. You know what? Maybe inner fire, pre-nerfed inner fire, and invigorating icon. Maybe that was getting abused, I guess. But yeah, it was a really strong combination of perks that they adjusted, and not to mention introduced a new, stronger perk. So. Is it abuse to jump into siege mode and use unmatched zeal? Because you're getting more out of that than a well-timed invigorating icon now. Yeah, I don't like the terminology here. I use the AoE damage, damage resistance, and damage buff perks on my Bulwark, and even using that at the right time makes easy work of even massive waves, taking away the need to even have the contested health perk in the first place. Now, this is a different conversation, but that's fair. I think Focus Restoration is turning into a very strong perk, but yeah, if you're getting one shot anyway, you know, basically having contested health left over isn't going to matter if you're dead. Basically. But yeah, advanced conditioning. Sorry, I was thinking about the name of the perk. So ultimately it comes down to the skill of the Bulwark and how they use banner. That can be a benefit or a detriment versus a Bulwark having that perk or not, in my eyes at least. Sheesh. Okay, this was a good comment, but there were some bad points here. I don't think anyone's abusing invigorating icon. I think they're simply using the perk on the way it should be. It's just weird. I think the devs, for whatever reason, have like a certain draw point of how much we should suffer for healing. And for whatever reason, assault players are way at the top. They want assault players to suffer a lot for healing. So I feel like any sort of criticism Invigorating Icon is getting is just from the fact that Invigorating Icon has the possibility to heal a class that is meant to not ever heal itself. I'm kidding, obviously, but okay, yeah, I think when it comes to this conversation, Invigorating Icon being overpowered, I still think it's silly. I've made my points. I don't think it's even comparable to the grenade launcher. I do think at one point, you can make the argument it was overpowered if it's matched with something like Inner Fire, but even then you have to consider that is the power of 2 perks. It's not just Invigorating Icon, you know, getting instant speed cooldown after every encounter. You are using Inner Fire as well. And you can still do that, by the way. You can still use Inner Fire with Invigorating Icon. It's just not as good as Unmatched Zeal. So, yeah, I don't think any good perks in this game were ever abused. I think if it comes to like a perk that is in a position to look like that, it's probably overpowered. But even in this scenario, like especially in Siege mode, you healing your teammates, the longer you go into Siege mode, is going to get less and less and less strong. I just think it's really weird to call perks overpowered if they can't really age well within Siege mode. You know what I mean? If Invigorating Icon, for whatever reason, made players invulnerable to damage for 5 seconds, for whatever reason, maybe then it could be considered overpowered because that could actually stop you from getting one-shotted, but you know, full healing yourself is not going to stop you from dying. It's just not. But yeah, let me know in the comments how you guys feel about this. This is definitely a conversation I was waiting to have for a long time since, you know, the devs kind of sneak dissed, you know, the overpowered Bulwark scenario. We'll talk about Intimidating Aura when the time comes, but right now I think everything for Bulwark is pretty balanced. I think if Bulwark needs the power of the perks they have now to do what the Bulwark is actually supposed to do, and that is to be a close range threat, not just a support character. But yeah, let me know in the comments how you guys feel about this one, and thanks for watching.